Hi, welcome to the Success Seeds. When Things Fall Apart is a book by Pema Chödrön that was first published in 1996. The book is a compilation of Buddhist teachings and personal anecdotes that offer insights on how to navigate life's challenges with resilience and compassion. The book has gained widespread popularity and has been translated into several languages, making it accessible to a global audience. In this book, we will delve into the key lessons that one can learn from when things fall apart. Acceptance of impermanence. Acceptance of impermanence is one of the key lessons that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Impermanence refers to the Buddhist concept that everything is constantly changing and that nothing is permanent. Impermanence can be seen in all aspects of our lives, including our relationships, careers, and possessions. Chödrön stresses the importance of accepting impermanence and recognizing that change is a natural part of life. She suggests that when we resist impermanence, we create suffering for ourselves. However, when we accept impermanence, we can learn to let go of our attachment to material possessions, relationships, and other facets of our lives that we may cling to. Accepting impermanence can help us develop detachment and inner peace amidst life's ebbs and flows. Accepting impermanence also means being able to embrace change. Change is a constant in life, and resisting it can lead to suffering and frustration. Chödrön motivates us to embrace change and consider it an opportunity for growth and renewal. By releasing our attachment to the status quo, we can open ourselves up to new possibilities and experiences. The book emphasizes the importance of flexibility and adaptability in navigating life's challenges. When we accept impermanence, we also cultivate a sense of gratitude for the present moment. Chödrön suggests that by recognizing the impermanence of life, we can appreciate the preciousness of every moment. We can learn to cherish our relationships and experiences, knowing that they are fleeting. This can lead to a greater sense of presence and joy in our lives. In summary, accepting impermanence is a key lesson from When Things Fall Apart. It involves recognizing the natural cycle of change and letting go of our attachment to the status quo. By accepting impermanence, we can cultivate detachment, inner peace, and gratitude for the present moment. The importance of mindfulness. The importance of mindfulness is another key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Mindfulness involves being present and fully engaged in the current moment, without judgment or distraction. Chödrön emphasizes that mindfulness is an essential tool for navigating life's challenges. When we practice mindfulness, we can become more aware of our thoughts and emotions and learn to respond to them in a more skillful way. We can learn to observe our negative thought patterns and reactions without getting caught up in them or allowing them to control us. Mindfulness can also help us to cultivate a sense of inner peace and stability amidst difficult circumstances. By staying present and grounded in the current moment, we can avoid becoming overwhelmed by worries or fears about the future. We can learn to accept the current reality without resisting it, which can help us to avoid unnecessary suffering. Chödrön suggests several ways in which we can practice mindfulness in our daily lives. One of these methods involves paying attention to our breath. By focusing on the sensation of our breath as we inhale and exhale, we can cultivate a sense of calm and centeredness. Another way to practice mindfulness is by focusing on our physical sensations or the environment around us. This can help us to stay present and fully engaged in the current moment. In addition to helping us navigate difficult situations, mindfulness can also help us to cultivate compassion and empathy for others. When we practice mindfulness, we become more attuned to the experiences of those around us. We become less reactive and more responsive, which can help us to communicate more effectively and build stronger relationships. In summary, the importance of mindfulness is a key lesson from When Things Fall Apart. Mindfulness can help us to navigate life's challenges, cultivate inner peace and stability, and build stronger relationships with others. By staying present and fully engaged in the current moment, we can learn to respond to life's ups and downs in a more skillful and compassionate way. Facing our fears. Facing our fears is another important lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that many of our problems arise from our fears and our tendency to avoid difficult situations. She encourages us to face our fears head-on, rather than running away from them. One of the most common fears that people face is the fear of uncertainty. We may feel anxious about the future and worry about what will happen if things don't go according to plan. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this fear by learning to embrace uncertainty and recognize it as a natural part of life. She suggests that we can learn to view uncertainty as an opportunity for growth and change, rather than a source of anxiety. Another fear that many of us struggle with is the fear of pain and discomfort. We may avoid difficult emotions or situations because we don't want to feel uncomfortable. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this fear by learning to sit with our discomfort and observe it without judgment. She encourages us to be curious about our emotions and to explore them with an open mind. Chödrön also suggests that we can overcome our fears by learning to be more compassionate towards ourselves. We may be harshly self-critical or judgmental, which can exacerbate our fears and make it harder for us to face difficult situations. By cultivating self-compassion, we can learn to be kinder and more accepting towards ourselves, even when we are facing challenges or setbacks. In summary, facing our fears is an important lesson from when things fall apart. By learning to embrace uncertainty, sit with discomfort, and cultivate self-compassion, we can overcome our fears and become more resilient in the face of adversity. We can learn to view difficult situations as opportunities for growth and change, rather than sources of anxiety or despair. Embracing change. Embracing change is another key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön emphasizes that change is a natural part of life, and that our ability to adapt to change is crucial for our well-being and happiness. Chödrön suggests that one of the reasons why we struggle with change is because we tend to cling to the past or resist the present. We may hold on to our expectations and beliefs about how things should be, rather than accepting the reality of the current situation. Chödrön encourages us to let go of our attachments and learn to embrace the present moment with openness and curiosity. One of the ways that we can embrace change is by cultivating a sense of impermanence. Chödrön suggests that we can learn to appreciate the fleeting nature of life and the fact that everything is constantly in flux. By recognizing the impermanence of all things, we can learn to appreciate the present moment more fully and avoid getting caught up in worries or regrets about the past or future. Another way that we can embrace change is by learning to let go of our expectations and attachments. Chödrön suggests that we can cultivate a sense of non-grasping by learning to appreciate the present moment for what it is, rather than constantly seeking to control or manipulate our circumstances. We can learn to be open to the possibilities that each moment presents, and to approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder. Finally, Chödrön suggests that we can embrace change by learning to trust in our own resilience and adaptability. We may feel afraid or uncertain when faced with change, but Chödrön reminds us that we have the inner resources to cope with whatever life throws our way. By learning to trust in our own resilience and adaptability, we can approach change with a sense of confidence and ease. In summary, embracing change is an important lesson from when things fall apart. By cultivating a sense of impermanence, non-grasping, and trust in our own resilience, we can learn to adapt to change with greater ease and flexibility. We can learn to appreciate the present moment more fully and approach life with a sense of curiosity and wonder. The power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness is another important lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that forgiveness is a crucial component of our spiritual and emotional well-being, and that holding on to grudges or resentments can be a source of great suffering. Chödrön encourages us to practice forgiveness towards ourselves and others. She suggests that we can learn to let go of our anger, resentment, and judgment by cultivating compassion and empathy. By recognizing that we all make mistakes and are capable of causing harm, we can learn to approach ourselves and others with greater kindness and understanding. One of the challenges of forgiveness is that it can be difficult to let go of our feelings of hurt or anger. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this challenge by learning to acknowledge our emotions and approach them with a sense of curiosity and compassion. Rather than trying to suppress or ignore our feelings, we can learn to sit with them and observe them with an open mind. Chödrön also suggests that we can practice forgiveness by learning to take responsibility for our own actions. We may have caused harm to others in the past, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and we can learn to make amends by acknowledging our mistakes and apologizing sincerely. By taking responsibility for our own actions, we can learn to cultivate greater empathy and compassion towards others who may have caused us harm. Finally, Chödrön suggests that we can practice forgiveness by learning to let go of our need for control. We may feel resentful or angry towards others when we feel that they have violated our expectations or beliefs. Chödrön encourages us to let go of our need for control and to approach life with greater flexibility and openness. By learning to let go of our expectations and judgments, we can learn to approach others with greater compassion and forgiveness. In summary, the power of forgiveness is an important lesson from when things fall apart. By cultivating compassion and empathy, acknowledging our emotions, taking responsibility for our actions, and letting go of our need for control, we can learn to practice forgiveness towards ourselves and others. We can learn to let go of our resentments and judgments and approach life with greater kindness and understanding. Cultivating gratitude. Cultivating gratitude is another key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that practicing gratitude can help us to cultivate a sense of contentment and joy, even in difficult circumstances. One of the challenges of cultivating gratitude is that it can be difficult to feel grateful when we are facing difficult situations. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this challenge by learning to approach our circumstances with a sense of openness and curiosity. Rather than viewing our challenges as obstacles to be overcome, we can learn to see them as opportunities for growth and transformation. Chödrön also suggests that we can cultivate gratitude by learning to appreciate the small things in life. We may take for granted the everyday moments of beauty and joy that surround us, such as the sun shining through the trees or a kind word from a friend. By learning to appreciate these small moments, we can learn to cultivate a greater sense of gratitude and joy in our lives. Another way that we can cultivate gratitude is by learning to practice mindfulness. Chödrön suggests that we can learn to appreciate the present moment by learning to be fully present and attentive to our surroundings. By learning to cultivate mindfulness, we can learn to appreciate the beauty and wonder of life in each moment. Chödrön also suggests that we can cultivate gratitude by learning to give back to others. By practicing generosity and kindness towards others, we can learn to appreciate the joy and abundance that comes from giving. By giving back to others, we can also learn to cultivate a greater sense of connection and compassion towards those around us. In summary, cultivating gratitude is an important lesson from When Things Fall Apart. By learning to approach our circumstances with openness and curiosity, appreciating the small things in life, practicing mindfulness, and giving back to others, we can learn to cultivate a greater sense of gratitude and joy in our lives. We can learn to appreciate the beauty and wonder of life in each moment, even in the midst of difficult circumstances. Compassion for ourselves and others. Compassion for ourselves and others is another key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that practicing compassion can help us to develop greater empathy and kindness towards ourselves and others. One of the challenges of practicing compassion is that it can be difficult to approach ourselves and others with kindness and understanding when we are facing difficult circumstances. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this challenge by learning to approach ourselves and others with a sense of curiosity and non-judgment. By learning to observe our thoughts and emotions with an open mind, we can learn to approach ourselves and others with greater compassion and empathy. Chödrön also suggests that we can cultivate compassion by learning to be present with our own suffering and the suffering of others. Rather than trying to avoid or suppress our own pain, we can learn to acknowledge it with a sense of curiosity and compassion. By learning to be present with our own pain, we can learn to approach others who are suffering with greater empathy and understanding. Another way that we can cultivate compassion is by learning to practice forgiveness, as discussed in the previous section. By learning to let go of our own resentments and judgments, we can learn to approach ourselves and others with greater kindness and understanding. Chödrön also suggests that we can cultivate compassion by learning to recognize our interconnectedness with all beings. We are all part of a larger web of relationships and interactions, and by recognizing this interconnectedness, we can learn to approach ourselves and others with greater compassion and empathy. The role of community. The role of community is another key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that being part of a supportive community can help us to find strength and resilience during difficult times. One of the challenges of facing difficult circumstances is that we may feel isolated and alone. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this challenge by seeking out the support of others who are facing similar challenges. By connecting with others who share our experiences, we can find a sense of belonging and support that can help us to cope with difficult circumstances. Chödrön also suggests that being part of a community can help us to cultivate greater empathy and compassion towards others. By being part of a supportive community, we can learn to approach others with greater understanding and kindness. We can also learn from others' experiences and perspectives, which can help us to broaden our own understanding of the world around us. Another way that community can support us during difficult times is by providing us with practical assistance and resources. For example, we may be able to receive emotional support, practical help with daily tasks, or financial assistance from our community during times of need. Chödrön also suggests that we can play an active role in supporting our community during difficult times. By offering our own support and resources to others who are facing challenges, we can help to create a stronger and more resilient community. The illusion of control. The illusion of control is another key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that we often try to exert control over our lives in order to avoid uncertainty and discomfort, but that this attempt at control is ultimately futile. One of the challenges of facing difficult circumstances is that we may feel like we are losing control of our lives. Chödrön suggests that we can overcome this challenge by recognizing that we never really had control in the first place. Life is inherently unpredictable and uncertain, and trying to control it only leads to suffering and frustration. Chödrön suggests that we can learn to let go of our illusion of control by learning to be present with our experiences, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. By learning to observe our thoughts and emotions with a sense of curiosity and non-judgment, we can learn to approach life with greater openness and acceptance. Another way that we can let go of our illusion of control is by learning to cultivate a sense of trust in the universe. Chödrön suggests that there is a natural intelligence and order to the universe, and that we can trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even if it doesn't match our own expectations or desires. Chödrön also suggests that we can let go of our illusion of control by learning to embrace impermanence, as discussed in the first section. By recognizing that everything is constantly changing and evolving, we can learn to approach life with a greater sense of flexibility and openness. The Path of Awakening. The Path of Awakening is the final key lesson that we can learn from Pema Chödrön's book When Things Fall Apart. Chödrön suggests that difficult circumstances can actually be an opportunity for us to awaken to a deeper sense of wisdom and compassion. Chödrön suggests that the path of awakening involves learning to recognize and let go of our habitual patterns of thought and behavior. By becoming more aware of our own tendencies and reactions, we can begin to approach life with greater clarity and insight. Chödrön also suggests that the path of awakening involves learning to connect with our own innate goodness and basic goodness in others. By recognizing the inherent goodness within ourselves and others, we can approach life with greater compassion and empathy. Another key aspect of the path of awakening is learning to let go of our attachments to ego and self-importance. Chödrön suggests that we often become attached to our own sense of identity and self-worth, which can lead to suffering and conflict. By learning to let go of our attachments, we can approach life with greater humility and openness. Chödrön also suggests that the path of awakening involves developing a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. By connecting with our own inner sense of purpose and meaning, we can approach life with greater intention and focus. Finally, Chödrön suggests that the path of awakening involves learning to connect with something greater than ourselves. Whether this is a sense of spirituality, a connection to nature, or a sense of community, connecting with something greater can help us to find a sense of purpose and meaning in our lives. Thanks for watching. For more such videos, please subscribe.